Okay, I think he's gone for the day. I think. Not entirely sure. I didn't exactly go outside and check if he had left. But I haven't heard him in a while. Or any... what sound like, the kind of tools that, like a leaf blower or anything like that. Anyways. While I did that, I... just to, satisfy my own kind of like peace of mind, basically, I was double checking, and then I noticed this entire area is wrecked. So this is a notable change I remember between this version and the classic version. It used to be in classic you had to go around this way, and there was a quest here as you made your way towards Bloodhoof. However, that place is completely like collapsed, and that's probably because of the cataclysm. And so now there's that new pathway right here. So that road's still there, but this place is completely blocked off. So there's no quest there. So while I was doing that, though, I went ahead and started collecting some of the pieces, like from the Plain Striders, the Swoops, the Prairie Wolves. So I've gotten those collected. Now it's time to kill some gnolls.
I need a target.
Almost sounded like Steve Bloom. I need a target. More bones to gnaw on. So, yeah. Does that guy look familiar? Ooh. He dropped a pouch. But yeah, looks very familiar to someone else back in Elwyn Forest, huh? Don't worry, I'll show him off when we get to our human. I will certainly show him off. I can't, not show him off. Unless they ever decide to remove him, which I don't know why they would ever even think about doing that. Considering how famous it became and how much of a joke it became as well. To the point where in BFA, the Horde intro quest where you go through the stockade, you encounter someone with a costume, and they're like, look, it was just a joke, let me out of here. So there you go, Alliance, if you thought you were the only ones that had to deal with one of those guys, nope. Tauren had to deal with it too. Everybody says that. Fresh meat. Come on. That phrase belongs to the butcher.
It's too far away.
But then again, they do say that impersonation is the most sincere form of flattery. There we go. Alright, let's go take out some of these hobbies. I also need to find a cougar and get their femur. What the? Oh my gosh, Grim Totem! Grim Totem, die! 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 I'm gonna use my blades, I'm just gonna whack you with my hammer! Just beat you to death with my hammer, die! Look at it tossing dirt in my face. All these Grim Totem, blah! Puh! I hate the Grim Totem so much. I told you. their mentality is very Nazi. They are probably, like, if there was ever anything, such a thing as an evil Tauren, it's the Grim Totem. Which is kind of on the nose with the name, when you think about it, right? Grim Totem. It's kind of easy to think that they might be evil when they have a name like that. By the way, can you imagine how many Tauren shaman were livid when they found out that Magatha was a follower that you could get as part of the shaman order hall? I mean an orc shaman, and I was livid. It was so insulting to shaman players. I understood why, you know, with the whole idea of we have to be willing to partner up with those we normally wouldn't for the sake of defeating a greater common foe, but that's one of those where it's like, you know what, I think we'll get by without her. Or her Grim Totem. It's like, no thank you. Besides, once we're done, you're just going to betray me in the end. So in my headcanon, the moment I saw her in my order hall, I was like, I shoved her into the maelstrom. Be like, okay, well, if that doesn't kill you, Therazane probably will. Which I would be very okay with. She's like, oh, look, a new plaything. Oh my gosh. Okay. There we go. In fact, that reminds me. Block, block, block. Okay. Now to find a cougar and try and get a femur from it. By the way, we now have the meat for Kyle, so we'll feed him once we get back to the village. Looking for a fun group to dungeon level with? Want to try something new without fear of being kicked? Check out Lost in the Sauce in your Guilds and Communities tab. We are a chill learning community focused on being social and leveling. I mean, that is awesome, though. It's always nice seeing, you know, groups that are wanting to promote that kind of, you know, friendly play and interaction for other players. Especially for newer players.
I'm out of...
I remember what it was like when I started. I played the majority of this leveling all by myself. No friends or you know, other players to help me out or help teach me about things. I had to learn it all by myself. Yeah, that was quite an experience. Okay, there we go. Whoops. So this is the guy over here that we are supposed to find outside of the village. And he'll have some more stuff for us to do.
How may I aid you?
Well met. If Amo has already explained the minor quibbles of what kind of goblin we will be driving from our lands, then let's get to work. A few days ago, we found a venture company caravan traveling under guard on the northern shore of Stonebull Lake. We lost 2 of our number in an earlier battle, so we were quick to attack and lay waste to the caravan. We left their supply crates thinking that our torches would destroy anything of value, but given that venture company salvagers have been spotted near the burned wagons, maybe we were wrong. Perhaps you could go to the caravan and examine the contents of the crates.
Okay.
Go in peace.
Well, before we head on over there to that caravan, which is right over here, let's go turn these in at the village first.
What brings you here?
Do you have the paws and talons? You have done well. I will take these and bind their powers into a totem of cleansing. I have crafted the totem to cleanse the Winterhoof water well. Now you must take it to the well and perform a cleansing ritual. I have created the cleansing totem. The well is to the southeast, but be warned, whoever did this may still be there, laying in wait. This may prove very dangerous. Be careful. Do not let the defilers of our well escape.
What a shock that we already discovered that it was the Grim Totem. So yeah, this is, specs are, unlocked. We're going to go ahead and just stick with Elemental. And now we have Earth Shock. Ooh, there's Kyle. Hey, Kyle. He howls in delight at the sight of his lunch and eats his lunch. And then he dances. He thanks you with a special dance.
It is good that you have taken the task seriously. Respect to the land and its creatures is important. Death and life are a circle, a necessity. One cannot exist without the other. Take time to ponder this, and do well to never forget it. Until recently, a group of dwarves intruded on our lands to the west, carving the earth apart senselessly to search for treasure. When the very earth itself, tore apart, the spirits of the land they had abused rose up and took their revenge. The agitated earth spirits still roam the former dig site. We must offer them appeasement. Take this drum with you to the west and play to the spirits. The rhythm may calm their fury and confusion.
Ancestors watch over you.
I'll talk a bit more on this in just a moment in regards to how this is kind of a an artificial way to be like, hey, Tauren, you dislike the Alliance, right? Right?
Hail.
Yeah.
The Wind Furies are deadly foes. Their strength in battle is only rivaled by their desire for fresh meat. You have done well. You seem well prepared to travel onward. Let the wind always be at your back.
Go in peace. Greetings.
Have you found the swoops? I know that gathering these quills was not an easy task. In doing this, you prove that you are a shaman of merit. It is good to have you at Bloodhoof Village.
Farewell.
Just like that, already level 11.
The winds guide you.
My fever grows worse, and I find my mind drifting into delirious nightmares. I should have known that I wouldn't be able to handle a beast that my grandfather was unable to defeat. Do you have the ingredients for the remedy?
I have the femur.
Ah, thank you. Using the items you brought me, if it's one item, I will be able to create the remedy that I need to stop the spread of the infection and eventually cure it completely. I owe you my life in thanks. But I will never forget that screeching call when Mazranak came upon me, the blaze of color as its beak descended. Be wary on your travels.
Go in peace.
You know, I could just go kill him for you. Just saying. And now to turn in this quest.
I miss my dog so much.
Fantastic work. Kyle came home as soon as he ate and went straight to bed. Thank you for your help.
Go in peace.
Level 12. Alright, let's go deal with this caravan. Lava burst. Move that around a bit. So, for the venture company, you'll notice we have gnolls, goblins, and ogres. All sides of the crate are stamped with the sign of the venture company mining division. Notes printed carefully on the side of the carton indicate that the contents are due for processing at one of their central plants. Prying open the lid reveals a tightly packed assortment of ore and minerals, more evidence of the venture company's mining operation in Mulgore. On top of the ore and minerals, you remove a... Hold on a second. Trying to live. On the top of the ore minerals, you remove a tightly bound sheaf of papers. Up in the foothills to the east, you can barely hear the sounds of work and see smoke rising from the large fire. Alright, let's go turn this in. And then we'll go cleanse that well from the grim totem. Tauren Hunter. I'm sorry, but I've just found like this is their starting pet. A plain strider. Seriously? They couldn't get, like, a cougar? Something more fierce? Like, I think human hunters get a wolf, so... Tauren warrior. Looks like he's just kind of chilling there.
What brings you here?
It does indeed appear that the venture company is attempting to rob us of our natural resources. It is good to know that this is true. And now it seems we must do something about it. This explains the buildup of venture company employees and equipment that we have seen in Mulgore. Those goblins, their company, is expanding too quickly for their own good. It's how they say, show a goblin something and you can hear the scales in the background. Greedy little things they are. Unfortunately for their business enterprise, we Tauren cannot allow them to conduct their operations in our lands. Go to their mine northeast of the Ravaged Caravan and send them a message. According to the documents that you salvaged from the caravan, the venture company created many plans to attempt to drive us from our lands here, so that they could have free reign to plunder our lands. The depths that they would sink to accomplish their goals disgusts and appalls me. I want the mastermind behind their plans killed. His name is Supervisor Fizz Procket, whatever it is. You will find him at the venture company mine east of the Ravaged Caravan. Bring me his clipboard. We shall see if we find out anything useful.
Be careful.
I will in a moment, but I have some Grim Totem to kill.
Grim Totem, die! Die!
I know I don't have to kill them, but
They deserve it!
trust me, I'm doing all Tauren people a service by getting rid of these monsters.
It's too far away.
Plus, XP. Oh, great, Farsight. So, let me just say, as a Shaman main, I think I've maybe have used this ability once. Like, ever. And I was like, well, that's one of the most useless abilities I've ever seen. I'm sorry. It may fit into the lore, but come on. I've never known a situation where I was like, oh man, I need to use Farsight for this. You know what I mean? Like, please, if you know of a time or situation where Farsight is, like, really useful, and I mean, like, in high-level play, like dungeons or raids, please, in the comments, let me know, because I feel like I am missing something when it comes to the utilization of Farsight for, I don't know, the group or something. Or just, it's like a time where Farsight is actually useful. Please let me know of a time when that can actually happen. So there's the mine. You can clearly see it from here. Tauren Hunter. Just like the Plain Strider to me is just a boring pet. It's like if I could, I would want to get my tame ability right away, and then like tame like either one of these prairie wolves or one of these cougars. But that's just me. I have my own, particular taste when it comes to hunter pets. But I'm sure everyone does. Alright, it's time to kill some Venture Company. Which I have no problem with. Seriously, the Venture Company is horrible. They wanted to get rid of the Tauren people just so they could plunder this place for riches. Remember, the goblins that are part of the Horde are not Venture Company. They are the Bilgewater Cartel, which is, at this moment in time, it's still Gallywix's cartel, though I'm pretty sure that by the end of BFA, that's no longer the case, as I'm sure Gallywix is long gone, and it's pretty much now becomes Gazlo's cartel, which I'm totally fine with, because as we learn, Gazlo actually cares about the people who work for him and treats them well, compared to Gallywix, who doesn't give a darn about any of the people who work for him. He just cares about his profit and luxuries and riches. I got a pouch from that. Nice. By the way, that was impressive. A ogre knocked back a Tauren. Now, I know that ogres are probably larger than Taurens, but still. By the way, there's the supervisor.
Time for a Tauren stomp!
Healing surge. Okay. And now I can just take down a couple more Venture Company. There's a couple more out here. And we'll be done. Earthshock does so much damage. You just have to get enough Maelstrom to order to cast it, but it does do quite a bit of damage. Now, why didn't they count? There we go. Right, I know these guys count. Oh, because they're supervisors, not workers. Oh well. Couple less Venture Company in the world, am I right? Like, they're not as bad as the Grim Totem, but they're pretty bad. They're up there. Dude, why you gotta set yourself up around all these wolves and cougars? But then again, he's got a big axe, so I'm sure he's like, I'm fine.
Greetings.
It's a Tauren monk. Tauren rogues, give them to people. Make them a thing, Blizzard. Let us be able to make Tauren rogues.
I don't think there could be too much in misinterpreting or ignoring of that signal. The Venture Company will know not to take the Tauren lightly, or to be so arrogant as to believe that we would allow them to steal the natural resources around us without protest. I seethe with anger at the thought of the atrocities that the Venture Company is willing to perpetrate against us in the name of profit. My anger is somewhat lessened at the news that the villain Fitzprocket is dead. I will go through his personal effects and see if there is any additional information about the Venture Company that has planned for the future. Thank you for your efforts.
Goodbye.
Hey, I finally have some boots. Boom. There we go. Okay. Now I can go turn that in, and then we can go calm the spirits. And you know what's sad? This is a very avoidable situation, but because Blizzard, or certain people at Blizzard, feel the need to insist on this artificial faction war, even when it involves the Tauren, which doesn't make any sense at all, and it's between two groups of people that would get along very well. The Tauren and the Dwarves, because they are both very interested in their people's history. They both love the, like archaeology and learning things, and would be very cooperative, and be very friendly and helpful to each other. But nope, we have to have them hate each other because Horde versus Alliance, blah, 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 blah.
Greetings, traveler.
The Grim Totem. Ugh. I had hoped to see the end of my days before Tauren attacked other Taurens senselessly on the very plains of Mulgore. But be proud, you have done a great thing for the land and for our people. There is more work to be done. We must create a new totem to cleanse the Thunderhorn well. You must gather the claws of the predators of the Mulgore Plains, hunt prairie stalkers for their stalker claws, and the flatland cougars for their cougar claws, and then return to me. You will find the prairie stalkers and the flatland cougars to the east and the west.
Walk.
You're gonna have me do this multiple times for each well, aren't you? Well, before we do that, in the meantime, let's go ahead and head over to the area where the dwarves are. But seriously, this is such an avoidable situation where the Tauren and the dwarves would get along together, but nope, we have to have them fight each other because Horde vs. Alliance garbage. Even though, as I said earlier, if there's one race that the Alliance would actually look favorably upon and actually get along well with, it's the Tauren. Like, let's go over the races of the Horde. Orcs. Yeah. Bad history there. The Trolls. I mean, maybe not the Darkspear, but they've had their fair share with other different, tribes of trolls, like the Zandalari, the Gurubashi, the Amani. The Undead. I mean, let's face it, the Alliance thinks the Undead should not even exist. The Goblins. Well, no doubt the Venture Company gives them a very bad impression. Plus, I'm sure they're not fond of Gallywix and some of his other goblins. Am I leaving anyone else out? Oh, the Blood Elves. I mean, they have a weird, odd history with the Blood Elves. I mean, they even, turned away the High Elves. Plus, the Night Elves, absolutely hate the Blood Elves and basically tried to convince the Alliance to get rid of the Blood Elves. Because of, how they think they're magic-using elves, therefore they are evil. Because they use magic, because magic is itself is terrible and evil, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Hey, it worked. That's a spirit that's been calmed. And then there's the Pandaren. I mean, as I'll point out when we do the Pandaren zone after we get to either city, the leader of each faction will say, alright, you've joined us, but your brethren who joined the other faction, they are now our enemies. They are considered traitors, and you will not fraternize with them or any of that. That's basically what both Varian and Garrosh said back in the day when that was the case. Obviously, the leaders are different, and we'll see if it's different at all these days with, the MMO time thing with the different leaders, but I'll basically be treating it as if this is what it was like when Varian, because Varian and Garrosh were the leaders at the time, when Varian or Garrosh would greet you. So, would quote-unquote greet you. And what's funny is they each had different ways to greet you into their faction. I just noticed there's a bunch of dwarven corpses here. I don't know if that means that all these spirits killed all the dwarves, or if a player came through here and already killed all these dwarves and they just haven't respawned yet. I don't know. I seem to recall, I think it was back in Vanilla, WoW Classic, that you actually had to fight these dwarves. They were all alive and you had to fight them. But I guess here in Cataclysm, the idea is that they came here and they paid the price excavating stuff here, and the earth elementals here just wiped out all the dwarves. A number of these things will usually be little nods to what it was like back in Vanilla, while changing it and updating it to have it match up with what the current story is. So, alright, let's go turn this in, and then I'm going to spend some time collecting these claws for the next totem. I wouldn't be surprised if after that it's hey, now head on over to, move up northwards of the northern portion of Mulgore towards places like the Other Well or the Other Camp, and then to Thunderbluff, stuff like that. I barely showed off Thunderbluff in the last part. Don't worry, that's because I'm intending to show you guys a little more of Thunder Bluff later. Just not now.
Well met.
The land is clearly still in great upheaval if it took such effort to calm. Remember this. Do not forget seeing the fate of those who would scar the Earth Mother.
Ancestors watch over you.
Yep. Alright. I'm gonna do some, collecting of claws, and then we will return.